Starting off today's manga haul, we have the one and only Chainsaw Man. I've been loving this series. I think it's been one of the best things I've been reading. It's always kept me on the edge of my seat guessing what's going to kind of happen next. Now, unfortunately, the last three volumes have been a little bit stale. It seems to try and be wrapping up an arc that didn't really happen to begin with. Now, even saying that, I did actually enjoy the ending to the arc that we got with this one. I do still highly recommend it. It's still an awesome series. Power is still best gal. Jujutsu Kaisen 16, another great volume. I'm still wondering when we're going to get Gojo back. My Hero Academia 31. I wasn't very interested when reading this series to begin with, but as it's been going along, it's hooking me in more and more and more, and this is no exception. In this we get all the heroes that have one for all talk, and they're kind of talking about the next steps, and they're setting up the final arc. Endeavour is dealing with Dabi's explosive revelation, like the family get together. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this volume, and even though like it's a regular sized volume, it's awesome and it's jam packed, and I'm thankful, so very thankful that we're stopping the focus on the kind of school elements. Following on from that, we get Vigilantes. This series has kind of been going downhill. The first arc was absolutely fantastic, and it doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be a prequel to My Hero Academia. It doesn't know if it wants to be a story about the Vigilante trio. It's all over the place. But what isn't is Kaiju No. 8. This is a fantastic series. This is one of my recommendations if you check out any of these books I'm talking about. It is awesome. You get giant monsters, a team like Gantz people to take out the monsters. They've all got this specialist equipment where they can unlock their powers depending on what kind of level they are. It's riveting, and the lead character is such a goofball in this, which is supposed to be like this proper serious kind of series. It adds a bit of levity that you actually need to it. Frieren, again, this is another series that I'm really enjoying at the moment. It sold me on the sheer premise that this elf girl outlives everybody she's with, and she doesn't really think about it that much. And of course, when she realises that everybody in her party and the heroes that she saved the world with are dying, she decides to take on like this new apprentice, and they're travelling throughout the nations, kind of helping people and stuff like that. And I do enjoy the party. That's the three of them on the back. But we've only just met this guy, but I am interested in in what he actually does and what he adds to the story, because of course these two are both magic user, and they are kind of going to have the kind of master pupil relationship, whereas he is kind of adding a different layer to it. Speaking of master pupil relationship, then we have Mao. Wow. Same author of Inuyasha, and I'll be honest, I prefer this one. It doesn't feel as dated, of course, because it's written in like modern times, so it wouldn't have that necessarily. And like the story with like all the monsters and creatures and stuff like that, it's just so interesting. We get this story with the girl who kind of has powers, but she doesn't know why she has powers, and the guy who is stuck in the past, kind of mentoring her, kind of looking after her and stuff like that, while dealing with his own kind of issues. As I said, if you love Inuyasha, you'll probably love this series. Again, it's another high recommendation from me. The art is very well done, and it's just a great story altogether. Fairy Tail. I think Fairy Tail is underappreciated in the community. It gets a lot of flack for some reason, and I don't understand why. It's like Fairy Tail and Sword Art Online. They're always like the poster children for like, oh yeah, that's awful, don't read that, that's garbage. But I really enjoy Fairy Tail, and the 100-year quest is really ramping up the story with the, I can't remember her name. She's not like a white dragon, I think she's like the white something, and she has put all of Fairy Tail's guild under like mind control, and of course Natsu and Co have to kind of beat up their friends to kind of rescue them. And we don't quite find out what has happened in this, but it's just kind of setting up that kind of arc at the moment. And if you like Fairy Tail, of course you can like Eden Zero. It's by exactly the same creator, although the 100-year quest has different art. I didn't really like this volume. Usually I really love Eden Zero. It's really fun, kind of goofy, kind of action-packed. But this one, I don't know, it just didn't really interest me. You had a lot of stuff about the robot queen, and like they were kind of wrapping up the arc where he's stolen loads of slave girls and trying to make him furniture, which was weird, but you know, it is what it is. And then Rebecca and Happy kind of doing their own thing, being like saviors and stuff like that, which was I was fine with, but it just seems like there's just too many characters at the moment, and it can't quite handle juggling them all. Can't communicate number 19. I don't know what it is with this series, because volume 17 we had a grand reveal between the girls, and they both admitted to liking the main guy, right? And I was like, okay, great, it's gonna wrap up soon, you know, now we're gonna have like the great reveal and stuff like that. Because in volume 10 they had a similar situation where it was like the end of the year, and it kind of felt like it was ending soon, because there wasn't really much for Komi to do. She had kind of got over her communication disorder, and she was talking to people normally, and then new year, and it just starts all over again, and like it's the same story that we've already got. I don't mind if like they're adding like new layers to the character and stuff like that, but apart from the love rival, who really hasn't done anything apart from befriend Komi, and then these like next few volumes go, oh yeah, you know, we're rivals but we're still going to be friends and stuff like that. It doesn't really add a lot for me. I'll be honest, I'm actually thinking of dropping this title at the moment, as much as I think volume 1 to 10 was amazing. Apart from volume 17, this series kind of is just plodding along. It just doesn't really have a strong direction to go in. Like we can guess where it's going to end, and it just needs to get there at this point. I can't imagine it going on for another 10 volumes, but being that it's gone on from 10, this is 19, we're getting 20 soon, it's gone on for 10 volumes when I think it should have ended. That's saying a lot. How Not to Summon a Demon Lord is another series that I enjoy. I don't know why I keep saying that, because I enjoy all these series, because of course I wouldn't be reading them if I didn't enjoy them. Anyway, great volume. I love the girls in this. I love the fact that some saint now thinks Diablo is the god, and she is trying to worship him, where all these like Imperial Knights are going like, we need to kill him, he's a demon. It is adding another fresh story to the mix, and I'm always interested in where this story goes, because a lot of people are going, ooh look, boobs. But yeah, I think this is a very, very good story. It keeps going, and it brings interesting storylines every single time. Like each arc is different and not always the same thing. Mobile Suit Gundam Wing, Endless Waltz. Now, I don't really know where they're trying to go with this series, because I've watched the Gundam Wing anime, I've watched Endless Waltz, and I can't fathom of why they decided to make Endless Waltz into a manga, because it's not a standalone story. You have to watch Wing to understand Waltz, but for some reason Waltz is a manga without Wing, so I don't know why. It's confusing, to be honest. It is very, very confusing, and like characters just kind of like teleport from one area to another without a lot of stuff happening. I'm probably going to give this one another volume, because I do love Gundam as a whole, but it's not really doing anything for me at the moment. This series had such a strong start with like the whole detective thing, the guy losing his detective associates and becoming kind of a leader by himself. That was kind of interesting, and then this volume kind of undoes all of that with this girl. Like, she's supposed to be like the client. She's supposed to be the client, and she is no longer the client. They're now working together for some reason. Even though she has absolutely no experience whatsoever, she's acting like she's the lead and she's the big boss. And I honestly don't like that, because it's just so out of the blue and it just doesn't make sense. Like, if she was like, oh yeah, you know, I'm working on this case, do you want to come help me? Yeah, it makes perfect sense. But she has a heart transplant, she's getting a phantom limb syndrome from the other person's memories, and she hires him to search out the donor. But you know, when they find out who the donor was, she's like, oh yeah, you know what, it makes sense, I'm totally the boss, this is totally my story now. And I'm just like, well, no, it's not your story, it's his story. But yeah, it rubbed me the wrong way. Again, this is another one that I'm probably going to give one volume and then decide if I want to get rid of it or keep it.